The numbers are in, and they're not pretty. The latest jobs report shows a sharp, unexpected slowdown in hiring, with unemployment ticking up. For months, we've heard about the strength of the Trump economy, but economists are now pointing to one key policy as the culprit for rising inflation and a weakening job market: the massive new wave of tariffs. With the average tariff rate now hitting 18%, the highest in nearly a century, are we witnessing the first signs of a major economic downturn caused by a trade war? We're breaking down what this means for your wallet, your job, and the future of the American economy. Stick with us and make sure you subscribe to AETB News for analysis that cuts through the noise. Welcome back to AETB News. The economic landscape in the United States is showing signs of significant stress, and a storm of data released this week has Washington on high alert. For the American people, it's a mix of confusing signals, claims of a booming economy on one hand, and rising prices and job insecurity on the other. Today, we're diving deep into the ugly jobs report that has shaken markets and what economists are calling the stagflationary effects of the Trump administration's aggressive tariff strategy. Part 1. The ugly jobs report and a defensive White House. This morning's jobs report was, to put it mildly, a shock to the system. Far from the robust growth analysts had predicted, the numbers revealed a significant pullback in hiring by employers. But the headline number wasn't the only cause for concern. The report also included sharp downward revisions for job data in previous months, effectively erasing gains that had been celebrated just a short time ago. As one of the president's own top economic advisors admitted, the revisions are not great. The White House was quick to manage the fallout. The official explanation pointed to quirks of a statistical process called seasonal adjustment. The argument is that factors like changing school schedules for teachers skewed the data, and that these jobs will simply reappear in the reports for other months. However, this explanation is being met with considerable skepticism. Economists and analysts are questioning the idea that seasonal patterns, which are tracked and adjusted for every year, could suddenly be responsible for such a significant miss. As our panel of experts noted, the idea that teacher schedules are drastically changing year over year doesn't quite pass the muster. This leaves the administration in a defensive posture, attempting to blame technicalities for what appears to be a genuine and troubling slowdown in the labor market. Part 2. The tariff connection: how a trade war hits home. So, if it's not a statistical quirk, what is causing this economic turbulence? All eyes are turning to the administration's signature economic policy, tariffs. President Trump has championed tariffs as a powerful tool to revive American manufacturing and compel action from foreign governments. The strategy has been aggressive and widespread, culminating in what the Yale Budget Lab calculates as an 18% average U.S. tariff rate, a level not seen in nearly 100 years. But according to leading economists like Diane Swank, chief economist at KPMG, and Anna Swanson of the New York Times, this policy is now backfiring. The first and most direct consequence is being felt in the very sector the tariffs were meant to protect: manufacturing. For months, the U.S. has been shedding manufacturing jobs. The reason? Tariffs on goods like steel and aluminum dramatically raise the costs of inputs for American factories. A company that builds appliances, tools, or even furniture suddenly has to pay much more for its raw materials. These costs don't just disappear. They are either absorbed by the company, squeezing their profits and leading to hiring freezes or layoffs, or they are passed directly on to consumers in the form of higher prices. This report is being seen as the first hard evidence of these tariffs hitting the broader economy. We're seeing it in the jobs numbers, and we're seeing it in inflation numbers, which are ticking upwards. This is the stagflationary effect in action, a headwind to employment and a tailwind to inflation.
Part 3. The one-legged stool: a labor market on unsteady ground. Diane Swank provided a powerful and concerning analogy for the current state of the U.S. labor market. For the past year, job growth has been held up by three main pillars: state and local government hiring, leisure and hospitality, and healthcare. It was a three-legged stool, stable if not incredibly robust. The latest data shows that stool has lost two of its legs. We are now down to one primary driver of job growth: healthcare and social assistance. As Swang starkly puts it, a one-legged stool does not stand for long. This extreme narrowing of the job market is a classic sign of economic stress and fragility. Compounding this issue is a startling trend in the labor force itself. Since April, a stunning 1.4 million foreign-born workers have left the labor force entirely. This is the largest such drop since the pandemic. While on the surface this helps keep the official unemployment rate artificially low, it's a dangerous sign. It indicates a shrinking pool of available workers, which can lead to further economic stagnation. A healthy economy expands its workforce. A struggling one sees it contract. We're also seeing a rise in the number of people forced to accept part-time work when they need full-time employment, another clear indicator of underlying weakness. Part 4. Uncertainty as a tax on the American economy. Beyond the direct costs, the administration's tariff policy has created a debilitating climate of uncertainty. The 90 deals in 90 days promise resulted in less than a dozen deals in 120 days. Tariff rates have been applied unevenly, with countries like the military dictatorship of Myanmar receiving a similar rate to a stable, developed economy like Switzerland. For American businesses, the playing field is constantly shifting. They don't know what their supply chain costs will be next month or if their products will be priced out of foreign markets. There is still no clarity on crucial details, such as the percentage of Chinese content that will trigger a higher tariff rate on goods from other countries. This chaos forces businesses to pause investment, delay hiring, and hold back on expansion. As economists will tell you, this level of uncertainty acts as a tax in and of itself on the economy. When a business owner cannot confidently plan for the future, they will not risk placing a bet on growth. They won't hire that extra worker or invest in new machinery. This hesitation, multiplied across thousands of companies, grinds the economic engine to a halt. An economy at a crossroads. So, does President Trump own these job numbers? While presidents have less control over the economy than they often claim, there's no denying that the dramatic and historic changes to trade policy are having a profound impact. The economy is rapidly becoming the president's economy, shaped by his tariff-centric vision. The data from 2018 and 2019 already showed that steel tariffs cost 75,000 manufacturing jobs for every 1,000 they created, due to higher input costs across the rest of the industry. We are now seeing history repeat itself, but on a much grander scale. The American economy is resilient, but it is not immune to the laws of economics. The combination of slowing growth, rising inflation, a fragile labor market, and crippling uncertainty presents a formidable challenge. The coming months will be critical in determining whether this is a temporary blip or the beginning of a sustained tariff-induced downturn. The question for every American is whether the promise of revived industry is worth the price of stagflation and economic instability. Thank you for joining us on AETB News. We'll continue to track these developments and bring you the facts.